Sreejesh, you with Avid travel across the world, like you go to exhibitions, you kind of do training sessions, you kind of, I'm sure are involved in R&D in some stage or the other, giving feedback to the, developers and all in your company. For the audience here, for our channel in India, they'd like to know, since you have international exposure as well, what is the trend today in terms of film mixing outside versus India, in terms of what can we learn from there?
See,
and put it in practice here.
One of the things is the difference is not huge. We have the same technology, we have the same techniques, we have everything that is similar in the West and here. But one of the biggest things that I've learned over a period of time is like, they don't limit their thoughts to the tools they have. So I'm not limiting my ideas to the set of plugins I own. No. It is always important, and in India I think we've outgrown that stage. We've started thinking outside the box, and then it is more about, okay, I have this idea, how do I achieve it? And then you start searching for techniques and technologies and all of that. One of the things again outside is about the differences in disciplines. I mean, we make around India does, I think, around 900 films a year. That's practically a film for breakfast, lunch and dinner, right? We are churning. So if you look at it, we're supposed to be experts at this, and over there is I would say a difference in discipline. I'm not saying that does not exist. There absolutely is. Okay. Again, the difference of discipline is in the fact that when you work, you're 100% in that thing. You don't shift away from here and there. There is a difference in sensibilities. As a culture, we are not a very subtle culture. It's not like, we're not like, oh, after you, sir. No, we don't do that. It's like, you get into the train so you can stand on the... We are a loud culture and we love it. And that does not... See, loud is not annoyance. There's a difference between that. If you're in the middle of a concert is not... Metallica is not subtle. It is loud, but then you enjoy it. So, again, coming back to the whole thing was like, there is a different sets of sensibilities that you would have when you mix a film like, let's say, La La Land, and you mix a film like Rowdy Rathod. You can't carry the same sensibility across. It has to be subtle. But that being said, we make films of storylines that are equally at par. I mean, like, you have films like Stanley Ka Dabba, you have films like Liar's Dice, you have a lot of Kamati Padam, you have all of these amazing films like Prem. I love these films that actually have very good substance in them that I learn a lot from. And again, when I see these things, I also call those engineers, whoever's mixed that film, I try and find who it is. I call them and say like, dude, I absolutely love this. I liked what you did here. And how did you do it? If I don't know, I ask them. And if they remember, they tell me. If not, I have instances where they said, let me find out. They've gone back to the studio, opened the session, checked it out and called me the next day. Oh. So nobody will say no unless you yourself say no. Anyways, coming back to where the trend is going towards, see, it is, the whole idea has gone away from, having the most powerful tools and sticking to that. This was the end of the world. No. There is a lot more in technology. For example, there is this amazing thing called sound particles, which is actually using something like a vector, you can call it, it's taken from game development. So we use that in Bombay Velvet when it was beta, where you can actually place sounds in, let's say it's a restaurant. You can place sounds in it and it will dynamically move around. Like if it's a restaurant, you can't keep constantly moving the waiter around in the mix. It doesn't work. You give these elements to that software. You give, okay, this is the waiter, this is the dough, this is the cutlery, this is the thing. You give that. It creates that scene and it renders it out. So things have gone much far. There is applications like Revoice Pro that can match not only pitch but performance as well.
And
you do
Sony
Revoice Pro, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Revoice Pro.
Yeah.
You could never have thought about matching performance a few years back.
Piece of software.
It is. It's absolutely. I'm a big fan of NewGen. Their upmix tools, Sequest. These have opened up things to a way where like you're no longer restricted to anything except for your imagination.
It's not yet caught on, but we also represent this company called AudioEase, and they have something known as Indoor.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's outrageously brilliant. In fact, I mean, when AudioEase came out with Altiverb and actually speakerphone.
Yes.
There are instances where you just love the distortion of speakerphone. You don't use anything else. And when I started using speakerphone, I used to turn off everything on that and just have the field reflection on that. It sounded so good.
So this is what you mean by experimenting and thinking out of the box. Because tools everybody has.
Tools everyone has.
But where to use it?
Exactly. I mean, you don't use a compressor as a compressor. Sometimes you use it for something else. You use it as a creative space. And then when you look at the world outside, for example, let's say there is, this is my personal take on things. Let's say someone says, okay, we have this film to do. And then you say, yeah, but I need enough budget. Here's $1 million for sound. The question is, what is it that you're going to give, which is $1 million of worth to you, that would be different from something before? How do you achieve it? Let's say I ask for, this film, I'm going to do it for 30 lakhs. This is my fee. Here's 50 lakhs. My question is, what will you do for that extra 20?
As a mix engineer.
As anybody, as a mix engineer or as a sound designer or as anybody, what will you do for that extra 20? If your creativity is limited to 30, that extra 20 for you is like a rip-off. That is where you break the rules and then you start to think outside of it. Because now you have no limits, which means you're also given a huge responsibility. There are two ways outside of this. You can play it safe or play it completely unsafe. For me, I would go the other way. People who know me know that I played completely unsafe. I've gotten into issues for that. I've made my fair share of mistakes. There's nothing wrong in admitting that. But you learn from those mistakes, and
so internationally, people do go beyond because of budget. So because they generally have that attitude time.
Okay, now here's what does a budget offer you? The budget, you as a person have only 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
What does a budget offer you? It offers you a way to source talents that can actually extend you. So if I can work with 4 other people who've got 10 hours each, in effect 4 into 10 plus my 10 is 50 hours a day of talent that I get.
Yeah.
That is where budget comes in. But as a creative space, what are you going to offer? Who are you going to get? What is that guy's specialty? Why are you getting him? Like in our music community, we've got fantastic people who are very good with synthesizers. Yeah. I'm talking like Moog. You know them much better than I do, right? They're fantastic people. I have absolutely no clue about what it is. But that does not stop me from calling them up and saying, okay, dude, this is the money that I have. I want you to do this. I cannot do it, but I'm extending my creativity on his talent. Right? And I have to pay him. So these are ways where you kind of make up for that extra 20 lakhs that is there. Kind of a thing. This is what you would do.
And you kind of raise the bar.
Exactly. Every film for me has to be something that is impossible for me to achieve. I don't want to do something I've already done. If I do something that I've already done, why am I doing it? Oh, I'm staying away from my wife, my daughter. I don't call my parents and all of that. What am I gaining out of it for that 2 hours that people go to the theatre? I want to gain much more for myself as well. And like I said, they make a lot more sacrifices than I do. Yeah. At least I get a creative satisfaction at the end of the day. What is the creative satisfaction they're going to get? But all being said and done, unless you consider yourself to be an artist, technician is just part of it. Primarily, you are an artist. I feel you are allowed to have a lost mind with that. You have the freedom to be lost in your thoughts. If not, then what differentiates you from being something that is mechanical? No. you can be ready to get lost in your thoughts, be in a trance, lost in your dreams. And I'm not saying doing stuff, I'm just saying lost in that creatively, artistically. Talk to people, learn from their stories, and get inspired from them. Everybody has
on this channel primarily.
Exactly. But I was inspired a lot from watching what Clinton does. Right? And I met Clinton during Kamine, and and Hitesh Sonik during Kamine. So I was inspired by their talks and how they do stuff. And one of the other things I've always done is breaking down how a session happens. Like, what do you keep in the front? What do you keep in the back? Is there a rule? No. Why do you want to do this? Why can't you do like this? Oh, because I did that and this is why it didn't work. That does not stopping you from doing it with something else. So all of these things creatively take a play. Like, I am always inspired by people. How do they create music? How do you create that piece of thing that is there? When you're so inspired with that, for me, it is my personal goal to take that to a different level, at least the maximum level that I feel I can achieve with the knowledge that I have. And if I lack the knowledge, but I have the idea that I need to reach here, I will learn to achieve that. I will do readings. I will try everything I possibly can until I sleep off on the console. I've done that. In fact, there's a mark here where I slept off and hit the fader. I will do that until I get there. I may lose sensibility. I may lose judgment. And I can always fix those things. I cannot fix the time I lose to get that idea. The time I get that idea, I do it. So I'm very impatient. So that being said, guys, if you have Pro Tools or whatever it is that you use, and I love Pro Tools because I've worked mostly in that, learn the shortcuts. You want them to be muscle memory. You don't want to think about executing something. You want to be able to execute it. It has to happen here. You have to hear it. The shorter time you have, the lesser time you leave for non-creative thinking. And yeah.
So as of now, internationally, what are the DAWs that are kind of popularly used?
See, the filmic space, Pro Tools is absolutely. I haven't seen any other form of delivery requirement or any other methods where you can actually achieve the things that you can do in this. There are many tools, there are many DAWs, and everything has its strengths and weaknesses. But we are not here to, let's say, discuss, I have this feature, you have that feature. The thing with Pro Tools is, it's been internationally established.
Right.
And it is a delivery format that everyone has. Every school has it. Everybody knows some form of Pro Tools. But it's completely different from something like Ableton. If you're a creator in that kind of a space, it's non-linear. It's a different world that Ableton is. Film space has always been Pro Tools. I mean, like, for me personally, it's probably because I'm more comfortable with it. Editing, writing scripts, you have control surfaces. For example, you have the dock and the Pro Tools control.
Yeah.
And I write a lot of macros for that.
Okay.
I'm a very lazy mixer. People who know me, and it's okay to be lazy. I don't like repeating things, so I build macros for that. I make my own shortcuts and scripts and all of that. So yeah, so this is what I've seen dominates the industry.
And abroad, do you get more time on international films compared to Bombay or India?
No, I feel that the time frame is pretty much the same. They just have, I think they have a bigger set of teams at work on that film. But the time frame, the struggles, the stories, and everything they have is exactly like us. Probably just that they speak in English and French, and we speak Hindi and Malayalam. It's the same story.
Right.
Yeah.
So, besides discipline, what else do you think that we can learn from?
Discipline is one thing.
Yeah.
Not limiting your creativity is another. Like, let's say I'm a big fan of Stranger Things. I'm a big fan of Narcos. I'm a big fan of Breaking Bad. That has influenced my mix styles as well. Because when you get to learn as in, like, how close can you get something against the other. Like, let's say you have dialogue and music. For safety reasons, we kind of tend to write the music completely under the dialogue. When I keep watching this, I understand that you don't have to be that safe or that far. That brings back to the question of, like, the music director saying, yeah, वैसे तो it gets bad in the theaters. The more closer you get these things to the point where you know that this is enough. This is a difference that you need. All of these things have helped me. And my question, where do they get it from? They have, again, their peer is there. AES has some fantastic papers. I read most of they are very technical, and I sit and read them. Trade shows, you go to IBC, you go to Palm Expo, you go to most of the trade shows, you meet people, you meet new technologies, you meet different ways people achieve things. For example, my whole idea of using the LFE channel in film mix changed when I learned how live sound was. And it's a completely different world, but I got inspired from there to completely change my mix in here. You learn from everywhere, you learn new technology, and for them, the community is very strong. You see, it's a community. We always we call ourselves the sound fraternity or the sound community or whatever. The sound community is not one man. Yeah. It is a collective of people who think, who share, who have this common goal of at least growing creatively and artistically. Where they reach is every single person's achievement. But nobody should be denied the idea of getting knowledge. For me, that is criminal injustice. You are not supposed to be denied. Of course, you have to be worthy of it. If I keep giving you everything and then you don't understand because you're getting it for free anyways, there's no value you attach to it. You have to attach value, because when I am saying something, it is after spending 18 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, consistently for 12 months a year, for 10 years straight in a row. That is what I talk about. And that is what I inspire to learn also. So every information that I get, or every information that the other person gets, is of absolute value. So yeah, no information is useless.
Right.
Every information has a story.
Sreejesh, it was fantastic knowledge that you shared with our viewers. Like your sayings, I mean, these 2 episodes, which might end up in 3 or more, it feels like we can keep talking. But
no, I just love sharing these facts, and I'm so happy to you guys as well. I mean, you're sitting here watching this, you're spending your time, actually sourcing out this YouTube video, sitting in front of your computer screen, those headphones on or not, on your laptops or whatever, and listening to me rant about this. I do respect the time that you spend in front of this video as well, and thank you also for at least watching this thing.
Sreejesh, thank you. It was lovely having you on the channel.
Oh, thank you so much.
I look forward to doing more videos.
Thanks.
Bye.
Just bye.